Hey everybody, this is Adam. Can you tell what's strange about the harmonica that I just played? Can you? Something unusual about it. Just something very unusual about it, and I thought it would be worth kind of doing a lesson and talking about. So, you know there's something weird about it. I mean, it sounds really bluesy, right? Sounds really bluesy. But it's in the wrong key. You're having a tough time playing along with it. Well, why would that be? Because it's in the key of B. Well, B is a good key. But B is a half step below C. So it's a really weird, freaky key. The reason why I've structured this video this way, this sort of with the cold open, is because nobody ever talks about the B harp. It's like the missing link. And that's mostly because there's very few, there are not a lot of them around. There's nothing rare about them, it's just nobody particularly wants them, because play cross harp in the key of B, you're going to end up playing F sharp rather than G, which is if I had a C harp. Right, so it's a half step below a C harp, a half step above a B flat harp. That should go without saying. But the question is, how many times do you get called upon to play in the key of F sharp? Like, why would you do that? There's a couple of reasons why you might do that. Number one, there are a few songs out there that are in the key of F sharp major, for example. And one of them is, and I remember this is one of the few times when I actually had to pull the B harp out of the bag. Tracy Chapman, the song "Give Me One Reason to Stay Here," right? Give me one reason to stay here or I'll turn right back around, which is one of the few 12-bar blues songs from the 90s that became kind of a standard. Like, you sort of had to learn that. And when people played it in the original key, you can check me on this, but I remember, like, why would anybody pick F sharp if it wasn't the actual key? So that's number one. If you want to play that song, now, of course, you could change the key. What's another one? Well, I remember years ago there was a song that I never could get quite right in terms of tuning, and back then we had record players, and we'd turn a little thing and sort of slow and speed up the record player. Now you can do everything digitally. Back then it was really some weird kind of way of doing that, and there was a track that I could never get my harp to get in tune with, and it was "Tighten Up on It" by Johnny Young, playing with apparently Big Walter Horton. And when I finally got a B harp, I put on that record. Classic Big Walter kind of stuff, but the licks he does on that particular track are incredible. It's one of the great bits of harmonica comping in the world. If you want to play that in the key that but here's the question. Is that the key it was recorded in, or is what's happening, and this does sometimes happen, and that's another reason for this lesson. Occasionally, back in the day, it's actually not even occasional, it was not at all uncommon, let's say your record player was playing the right speed, it's not at all uncommon to get a track that just you couldn't make your harp quite sound like it because it was a little flat or a little sharp. Why would that happen? A little sharp from your harmonica. Assume your harmonica was in tune. Assume your record player was okay. Why would that happen? Well, because in the process of transferring the studio, you have to look into the process through which this track appears on this album, and it may have been on a 45 RPM single, for example, or there may have been some kind of speed up or slow down that was a part of the process of going from the old masters to the old sort of studio masters done on reel-to-reel decks, right, to transferring it to sort of a final, digitizing it, say, or transferring it to a final thing, often something goes a little wrong in that process and pitch doesn't stay exact. It's really important, and this actually has nothing to do with the B-harp per se, but it's a really important subject. If you want to play along with the recording, and if you can't get your harp so that it's in tune with the recording, it's never going to sound right. And you've got to make sure, I don't know the best way to tell you, I don't know the best way of making sure of this, but maybe the best thing to do would be to have some app. We used to use the Amazing Slow Downer. It was called Amazing X. It was a 32-bit application, so it doesn't work on the newer computers, the 64-bit. It worked great on the 32-bit. And so learning how to tweak the speed of a track up or down so that your harp will zero in with it once you get the right key harp. That's a key thing. Anyway, let's go back to the B harp. Why should you care? Why should you get a B harp? Well, obviously, back in the day when I used to get these, they were about, they were no more than $20, the harps. They used to be $8.95. I remember $5.95, $8.95. Now they're, $45, $50 or more. Right? So I understand why you might not think that you need to be. Every once in a while, if you want to make your living at this, and that means doing occasional pickup gigs, and it means doing recording sessions, every once in a while, somebody's going to say it's in the key of F sharp. Or, the other possibility is, well, what about playing it in third position? Well, that's a whole step up from B, would be C sharp. Not a whole lot of people playing in C sharp, but then again, every now and then somebody does. One other idea that I want to disabuse you from, one other thing that people sometimes have, because there are all kinds of mythologies connected with the blues harmonica. One idea that people have is that there's somehow, there are certain keys on the harp that are bluesier. I did a slightly satirical video years ago where I said, what's the bluesiest harmonica key? Because I used to think that. Well, the answer is there really is no bluesier key. There are keys that are associated with songs that you know and that move you. It just so happens that that Mississippi mandolin, that Johnny Young and Big Walter Horton cut, I thought was one of the bluesiest. So for me, B always had a lot of blues to it. But so did B flat. C, maybe not as much. Isn't that funny? And yet that's what everybody plays. I thought B flat was a lot bluesier. Every harp can be bluesy, and it's a challenge. I'm just going to recommend that you think, if you've got maybe you've got most of the keys and you're looking for something a little off the beaten path, get a B harp. Get a B harp. Let me play a few things on the B harp. Yeah, you know. Yeah, you know. B harp. See you down the road. Bye-bye.